It's 10 p.m. in Banjul. This is GRTS News, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. Coming up, His Excellency President Barrow attends the 61st session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in the Ghanaian capital, Accra. Breaking the myth and misinformation around menstruation, activists intensify the campaign to raise awareness in ending stigma and period poverty. Also coming up, the Food and Agriculture Organization partners with Forestry Department to boost beekeeping in the Central River region.
Once again
in sports, Scrabble players contest in the National Scrabble Championship organized by the Gambia Scrabble Federation to promote the game. Away from home, there have been a celebration in the Burundian capital city of Bujumbura to mark the country's 60 years of independence. Plus, thousands held protests in Morocco over the deaths of 23 migrants in Melilla last week.
Was held in Rabat.
Well, details of that and other stories coming ahead with me, Momodin Jai, and thanks for joining us. His Excellency Barrow Saturday arrived in Accra, Ghana for the 61st session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. The President is accompanied by a high-ranking delegation of ministers, the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, and the Director of Press and Public Relations. Momodu Jallo is also in the Ghanaian capital and he sent us this report.
The President, His Excellency Barrow, arrived at the Kotoka International Airport Saturday afternoon to attend the 61st ordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS. He was received by the Ghanaian Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Gambia's High Commissioner to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, also accredited to Ghana, His Excellency Muhammadu Jai, and other high-ranking officials. After the usual airport ceremonies, the President and delegation were driven to the Kempinski Hotel in central Accra, where leaders from the sub-regional bloc ECOWAS will meet to discuss the situation in Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso, among other agenda items. Momodu Jallo, GRTS.
Talking about period has been a long-existing taboo in most parts of Africa, which clouded menstruation with stigma and endless myths, thus exposing women and girls to difficult experiences. Misinformation around menstruation, according to activists, surges and period poverty amongst women and girls amid the struggle to have access to affordable sanitary resources. GRTS Aminata Isanyang examines the effects of period stigma and poverty, featuring voices of women and girls who are into activism to change the narrative.
Adolescence in a girl's life brings physical and emotional changes that are both difficult and expensive. One of those biological changes include menstruation, a healthy and natural phenomenon clouded with stigma and detrimental concepts, engendered from social and cultural beliefs. Patriarchal dominance in most African communities is taking a major toll on women, with discussions about menstruation categorized as taboo and labeled impure. Amassing myth and fabrications around the subject. Efforts are being made by women's rights advocates to erase the usage of euphemisms and code words for period, getting women and girls to talk more about menstruation without feeling mortified. Fatima Tassani is the founder of Fatima's Power Drive, an organization established to fight period poverty, promote menstrual hygiene and sexual reproductive health education. Fatoumata believes myths around periods can lead to troubling misconceptions that might reinforce stigma around menstruation.
When young people don't talk about their periods or don't hear people talking about their periods, the problem is they don't get to know what period is about. They just go with the flow. They don't know what to use when they're on their period. They don't know when to change their sanitary pads. They don't know how to dispose pads. They don't know proper period management. And this leads to them using unhygienic materials like rags.
She is one of the feminists firmly actuating period conversations online, schools, and rural communities. The backlash she receives for encouraging period discussions never dissuade her drive.
Before, you dare not talk about periods outside. When I just started this, I have received backlashes. People telling me like you're hijab, you're Muslim, this is higher, you shouldn't talk about it, you should be ashamed of it. I mean, but I never listen to them because I know where I want to be. And when you start listening to people, then you wouldn't go far and you wouldn't achieve your goals.
Menstrual hygiene materials are becoming increasingly expensive, making it difficult for many girls to access safe and affordable products in a struggle, leading many to resort to using unsanitary resources. Loka S. Gomez is the pioneer of Project 21. She embarked on a series of activities to address period poverty, a crusade that also seeks to empower women and girls.
The whole inspiration for Project 21 comes with ensuring the next generation of girls understand the need to continue the fight that we've already started. And this is why I dedicated a whole 2 months addressing period poverty, because it is one thing that we always sideline as a community. And if every young girl understands the need to advocate for cheaper pads and more awareness on periods, then we will live in a more conducive environment and everyone would be at ease, understanding it's normal.
Loka and her team are working hard to end period stigma and poverty through a collective approach including boys in the journey. Loka believes failure to involve boys in the fight to end period shaming strengthens menstrual stigmatization.
Project 21 does not only stop at conversing with young girls. When you talk to the young women and then you don't talk to the young men, you're just doing 50% of the work. Because again, we have most of the perpetrators, most of those who are doing period shaming being men.
Organizations such as the Girls' Agenda are also working to address menstrual hygiene and period poverty via an academy established to train girls to manage their menstruation. Efforts here are geared towards getting girls equipped with the requisite skills to make reusable parts to ease the burden they go through to obtain sanitary towels. According to statistics, 95% of menstruating girls miss school, with negative impacts on their academic performances. I engaged high school student Anasar and her friends Lydia, Mapinta, and Nene Kumba about period stigma in school.
We are being stigmatized. Because of your period, you have to stay at home. Facilities need to be provided and the products too, because you need privacy. Some people have the facilities, but then the privacy comes into contribution, because you having the facility and not having the privacy to change your pad whenever you feel like it. Some schools you just have maybe 2 toilets. The toilet might be congested. Imagine I have to change my pad during break time and there are only 2 toilets. Everybody has to use the toilet during break time, and I would feel rather uncomfortable.
Young girls often grow up with limited knowledge about menstruation due to the absence of conversations about period at home and even at school.
So I think girls should be really encouraged to talk about these things and to have these sanitary pads available to young girls out there. Not everybody can afford them, and I think it's really important that we talk to our girls to make sure that we shape their lives and they will be bold enough to talk about the things that trouble them Like you walking up to your father and tell him, hey dad, I want you to buy me sanitary pad. It's not common in our society.
The girls believe integrating topics in the school curriculum that widely highlight menstruation will curtail menstrual pressure and the constant shaming girls face in school.
When you're in class and you're on your period, it's very hard for you to like leave the class and like say I want to go and change my pad, because the teacher will be like he will feel weird about it. So it's really hard for girls to like be comfortable in society, because people usually judge us thinking that like we are dirty, or we should like be different from boys, because boys are more special than us, which is totally wrong, because that's sexism and that's not fair to us.
Despite being a normal biological cause, menstruation has become a very difficult experience for girls amid the pains they experience.
I talked about period with my friends like in school here. We normally have classes, science class, and teachers do talk about. So after class, we do sit together and like talk on things that the teacher didn't say.
Advocates believe awareness on good menstrual management is vital, as poor menstrual hygiene can lead to major health complications. Menstrual hygiene is vital to the empowerment of women and girls, but without significant access to menstrual resources, women and girls have a lot of challenges to grapple with.
The call for urgent action intensifies as advocates firmly push for the establishment of sophisticated facilities and accessibility to period products. One of the most important goals is to end period stigma, to create an environment that values and supports women to manage their menstruation with dignity. Aminata Isanyang, GRTS.
That was Aminata Isanyang. Now on news, let's see what's happening in regions beginning in CRR, where the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the Forestry Department have convened a day's contact and collaboration fair for stakeholders in the beekeeping associations in Central River region. Mudlamin Sani has more on that in this report.
The beekeeping fraternity and forest management stakeholders gathered once again for a networking and collaboration fair in the Central River region, a rare convergence staged by the Food and Agriculture Organization, partnered with the Forestry Department, Natural Resource Consulting, and Jeff 6 project. This scheme is anchored on bringing together beekeeping associations to discuss issues meant to improve product marketing.
The project is promoting a sustainable livelihood through income generation. And then most of these communities or most of these beneficiaries who are gathered here today are involved in either beekeeping, ecotourism, or nursery, tree nursery management. Now, for several times now, they have been harvesting their products and they feel important to take it to the market. And one of the areas that they can do that is to bring them together in a central place so that the products that they have from the project.
The networking event also seeks to create a link between enterprise groups to support and service institutions with a major focus on developing businesses to ensure sustainability.
Products are so good and pure, and then that if you go to the European market, they are prioritized, because the Gambian honey is collected from different plants, different flowers, that made it very rich and then is marketable. So it will serve as a form of employment and an income generating center. So all we have to do to be proud of it and then maintain it.
The important fair saw organizers convene entrepreneurs and enterprise groups, enabling interfacing with key players in the forest management and beekeeping associations.
Conservation is not easy. We have a lot of challenges in terms of people understanding and in terms of protecting the forest, and also the challenges are based on bushfires and also the legal failings of the trees. That's why we involve these communities, because they are very close to the forest. So at least to involve them, it will help forestry department, it will ease down the challenges that we are facing.
If my project is coming to support, we will come not to support beekeeping because it's already existing. So we'll have other alternatives, livelihood, like wildlife rearing or breeding, so that at least we can get benefit out of the forest, and then we can support but also if we are protecting, if we are getting those benefits, we related to the forest, we will have the forest always there to support us.
The forum organizers intend to stage the event in another part of the country amid efforts to promote forest preservation and restoration alongside income generation for communities. Maud Lamin Sane reporting for GRTS News from the Central River region.
The natural resource consulting firm NACO recently organized a day-long contact and collaboration fair forum for enterprises in the Lower River region. The event held at Pakalinding is part of the implementation of the community-based sustainable dryland forest management project. GRTS Lower River region correspondent Usman Balde picks up.
Events planned by NACO to enable project beneficiaries interact with financial institutions and service providers to help them improve the marketing of their products and access to finance. Alkali Jajusi of NACO gave an overview of the event and the project at large.
This project has 3 implementing partners, but first of all, the donor is the GEF, the Global Environment Facility, and then they provided fund to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. And then the 3 implementing partners are the Department of Forestry, which is the principal implementing partner, responsible for tenure transfer from the state to the communities. Then you have the Natural Resource Consulting, our own institution, which is responsible to support these beneficiaries to improve their livelihoods through non-timber forest products like beekeeping, ecotourism, and then tree nursery. And the 3rd implementing partner is the Agency for the Advancement of Women and Children, which is called ADWAC. ADWAC is based in Kerawan, North Bank region. ADWAC, the role they play in this project is to provide energy-saving cooking stoves to beneficiary communities in the Lower River, North Bank, CRR North, and URR North.
The representative of FAO, Ibrahim Adem, called on beneficiaries to ensure the sustainability of the project as it enters its final 2 months.
Expectation is the sustainability part. We have to understand that every project have a starting and have an ending. But then we always hope that the project's activity wouldn't end at when the project fails out. So for that being the case, we hoping that the farmers, the beneficiary, will take ownership of this project. We also hoping that the project implementer, that is the Department of Forestry through the MECNAR, through the Ministry of Forestry and Environment, would also able to take ownership and also continue from where the project stopped, because we really hope that the project wouldn't end when FAO support ends. So that one is something that is very, very key for the project success.
The President National Farmers Platform, Sirfo Bojang, called on Gambian farmers to unite and register under various farm groups, which he believes will enable them access support and improve networking.
It is a blessing for farmers because unity is bigger than any other thing. So I think if they unite, register under groups, they can benefit from many things. Because presently we are working with the Food and Agriculture Organization and we are benefiting from the forest farm facilities. Now, groups registered under the National Farmers Platform and they are working as far as the forest products are concerned, are benefiting from it directly. As I have mentioned when I was doing my deliberation, we have some money and the money is coming from FAO through the forest and farm facilities. And the traditional healers are benefiting from the forest. The Gambia All Forestry Platform are benefiting from the forest, and they are all going to benefit from that TCP.
The peak of the event was a mini trade fair where participants displayed their locally made products for interested buyers. Usman Balde, GRTS News.
Well, let's now head to Kerawan in the North Bank region, from where our correspondent Famara Kanyi brings us some of the news making headlines in northern part of the country in this roundup.
Organization for Migration has organized a day-long activity in Kerawan. The event brought together key stakeholders within the Technical Advisory Committee to discuss issues relating to migration. Palamusa Konate of the International Organization for Migration said the activity is meant to build the capacity of the regional coordinating team on migration governance.
The government of the Gambia, with support from IOM, started in December 2018 the process of establishing a national coordination mechanism for migration. This platform is intended to serve as a dialogue platform for relevant stakeholders to address emerging migration issues in coordinated and timely manner, and to ensure policy coherence on migration at the national level and mainstream migration in national development plans. In the long run, with NCM, the government of the Gambia expects to have a unified and a shared approach and understanding of migration realities and how best to address them.
The IMVF supporting the Tekifi project in the Gambia recently concluded a retreat in Farafenni. The convergence brought together project officials, agriculture extension service, and field supervisors from ADWAC. The retreat aims at promoting the farmer field school concept to improve vegetable production in the regions.
An MOU has been signed between the project and the Department of Agricultural Services to use the expertise of the extension workers to support the project in the implementation of key activities that the project was implementing during this project period. More specifically, supporting the farmer field schools, promoting the farmer field concept with farmers, especially with vegetable producers in the various communities of the Lower River region, in North Bank region, Central River region, North and South. This retreat was actually meant to bring together all the participating stakeholders to review what has been achieved so far.
The farmer field school concept has registered achievements across many intervention communities. The concept also encouraged productivity and diversification in vegetable production.
We'll see that some of our beneficiaries have been impacted by this intervention, having increased income, and probably they have managed to improve their houses, to send the kids to study. That's what we are targeting.
The North Bank region joined the rest of the country to commemorate the International Olympic Day. The activity was celebrated by students and civil servants across the region. The event was led by the governor, civil servants in the region, school children and teachers. The day-long activity was concluded with the presentation of certificates to participants. The Regional Agriculture Directorate in Kerawan have distributed 70 seeders and signposts to smallholder farmers across the region. The handing over ceremony brought together beneficiaries and regional officials. The support forms part of the Gambia government's resolve to improve and mechanize the agriculture sector. Beneficiaries used the platform to thank the Gambia government through the Ministry of Agriculture for the assistance. For the news, I am Farmer Akani.
To the West Coast region now, where on Saturday the Bible Society, in partnership with the WEC Mission International in the Gambia, launched the Kujamatak Jola Bible at a ceremony held at the Evangelical Church Multipurpose Center in Kampant village in Fonyi Bintang. The translated version of the Bible, the first of its kind in the Kujamatak Jola language, was attended by a cross-section of the Christian faithfuls and non-Christians. Bernadette Sane reports.
Of the Kujamatak version of the Bible is said to be another manifestation of how evangelism have contributed and reached out to the people of God. The Bible Society in the Gambia has been in existence for over 6 decades and officially registered in 2003. Mr. Michael Ellis, the Secretary General of the Bible Society, reminded the gathering about the beliefs and mission of the Bible Society, saying his association has reached out to scores of people around the world.
The Bible Society of the Gambia is a registered charitable organization and is also an affiliate member of the United Bible Society and also a stakeholder in Christian religious work in the Gambia. Its mission is to equip churches nationwide to share God's word, and it is in that vein that it is driven by strong fellowship values as well as good foundational beliefs that makes it unique.
Louis Mendy, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, on behalf of the President, His Excellency Barrow, said he is honored to be associated with this important ceremony of the Kujamatak Bible, which promotes the teachings of the local languages.
Today, we are now joining to the Wolof endeavor that the country has done, translating the Bible or the Word of God into Wolof. That has been successfully done, not in the Bible form though, but in bits and pieces. Today it is very interesting and delighting to know that we have now gotten the Bible into the Jola language.
P.S. Mendy appealed to all people of God and light of the world and no sense of humanity as brothers and sisters, saying the political will is already there for Christians to practice their faith.
You must be a Christian by your deeds and by your life. And all that we draw as Christians, all the lessons, all the work, all the services that we do must be sourced from the Holy Scriptures, which is the Bible.
The Bible, he went on to say, is central in the life of Christian faithfuls. Mendy looks forward to the replication of the Bible in other languages. As he launched the Kujamatak version of the Bible, a song of praise was the first that came to his mind.
I stand upon the word of God. I stand upon the word of God. Oh, in the word of God.
The Most Right Reverend Bishop Bani E.F. Manga, presiding bishop of the Methodist Mission, the Gambia, tells us why the need for the Kujamatak Bible.
Various theories suggest that the Jolas have them all across Africa and in the Middle East. And this is established by renowned scholarship. The Jolas have their history not only in Gambia, all across Africa and in the Middle East. Some of the theories are saying that the Jolas are descendants of Reuben and Gad in the Old Testament.
The bishop of the Methodist Mission, the Gambia, said the Bible has the answers to all problems of believers and also brings light to the world.
The Bible is a document that has been established to anchor faith in God through Jesus Christ. In the reading of the Bible, you are not just reading stories and you are not just reading tales. You are reading things that will make you come to faith in Jesus Christ.
He called on all to embrace the Bible as their tool for everything. Songs of praise and worship in the Kujamatak language were the highlights of the day. For the news, I am Daniel Sani.
Sani there reporting on the launching of the Kujamatak Jola Bible in Kampan Village, Fonyi, Bintang, West Coast region. Away from that, the Minister for Communication and Digital Economy, Usman Eba, has an interface with the management of Gamtel and Gamcel as part of his first visit to the two institutions after his appointment. Minister Ba and the management of both institutions discussed several issues ranging from the successes, challenges, and way forward. Famara Banji has more.
New Communication and Digital Economy Minister Honorable Usman Ba begins work in earnest with visits to digital facilities and telecom service providers, starting with the national telecommunications company Gamtel. Minister Ba paid an early call to the Gamtel headquarters in Banjul, where he interfaced with a full house of Gamtel management and staff. The Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, Aminjai Juve, explained the purpose of the minister's tour.
We thought that it's important for him to come and also get further interact with you to know your plans. What plans do you have? How do you intend to support the ministry in achieving its policy objective? And also, what are your challenges in the process of implementing those plans? How do you intend to go about it?
The managing director of Gamtel Lamin A. Tunkara commended the minister for the visit and assured him of their full cooperation to expand the digital economy and national communications.
Our role here is to support the ministry. And I think it is quite important that the Honorable Minister has emphasized on the need for us to understand where policy begins and ends and where operations comes into play. They come up with policy matters. They give it to us. Like they want to say, we want to connect the entire country through wireless. That will be a policy decision, but the implementation of that is at the operational level. That's why you and I and everyone else comes into this thing. And I can promise you that we'll be there at all times to give you that support.
The essential introduction and engagement familiarizing the new communications and digital economy minister with operations at the nation's telecommunication provider was a great first-hand impression, as the minister called for clarity into several issues, including data rates, marketing and development planning.
The capacity that each of these companies are purchasing through the upstream providers are independent of Gamtel. But any time that we have this problem that customers started complaining, they say Gamtel. But basically, the slow internet for Gamtel customers could be the amount of capacity that we purchase through the upstream providers, because everything is aggregated at the edge gateway. Through the upstream providers, we purchase different capacity at different providers, some from Portugal Telecoms, France Telecoms, of independent capacity. Sometimes this capacity doesn't match with the total amount of capacity that is within the local network.
A similar engagement was conducted at the Gamtel House, where the minister and delegation were received by the company's management, headed by General Manager Elizabeth Mendy Johnson. The Gamtel management used the opportunity to highlight key challenges confronting their operations.
I think it's financial challenge that has kept us in this position. Currently, we are operating 2G and 3G. And as you know, the industry is just moving on to 5G. And so it's difficult, especially when you are competing. So that's a major challenge in the company.
Even though we are trying our best, as GM mentioned, but we are tight. That's number one. Access network, we are not covered. We can only compete when we are covered. And we believe it's all because of lack of investment. It is money that makes money. It's what we are trying to play from your institution, the ministry, to help through the state or the government that this is what we need. Maybe difficult, but even if we can be having on small species of investment, it will help.
During discussions with the two managements, the minister assured officials of his full support and called for collaboration to advance the Gambia communications and digital economy sector.
I'm going to drive the policy that's going to make things easy, flexible, to help us to drive to the next level. With that said, I give up a lot of stuff to come back to this country. I have my two companies that I had to give up, and I had to give up my fat salary in the US, many of you know, to come here, give back to my country, not to mention other things. I did it because my personal fortune, the success of my country, is more important, is far important to me than my personal fortune. I think everybody needs to realize that we all want Gambia to excel. And the reason why we want that, because it doesn't matter what political affiliate you belong to. When success comes, everybody sees. Let's work together as a family, and let's continue to build this nation to what it ought to be.
Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
The news live from GRTS, and still to come is the sports and international news right after this break. Stay tuned.
Mauritius
The Gambia Scrabble Federation recently held its National Scrabble Championship, which is aimed at promoting the game. The championship also seeks to help the country's Scrabble governing body to select a formidable team that can represent the Gambia in international competitions. The two-day event was graced by Scrabble enthusiasts, including the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Elizabeth Renner, and the Governor of the West Coast region, Usman Bojang. Famara Baji tells us more.
Research has indicated that playing Scrabble has numerous benefits that range from developing one's intellect to enhancing vocabulary, as well as strategy and encouraging social cooperation and bonding. These players passionate about the game are drawn from different regions. Under this roof, they united as a family in the spirit of Scrabble. Some of these players led the country to a bronze medal in the recently concluded championship in Ghana.
In that first West Africa Scrabble Championship, the Gambia managed to make bronze. Nigeria, which is the leading Scrabbling nation in the world, took first in that one, naturally, and then Ghana took second, and the Gambia took third.
It was a complete concentration as the players display mastery of the game, putting together tiles bearing letters to form words that score them points. In their words, one of the reasons for this tournament is to select a formidable Scrabble team.
This tournament we are having is in preparation to have a stronger team that will fairly represent the country. We don't want a situation whereby representatives are just randomly selected because of their history, but we want representatives based on their performance. So far we have 15 top players representing Gambian Scrabblers from all over the country, and they're playing by international laws or rules and also to international tournament standards.
A not so popular game in the country, members of the Gambia Scrabble Federation say they are advancing efforts to introduce the game at the schools, which they say will help them in popularizing the game.
So we look forward to working with the Ministry of Education, both ministries, basic and secondary education, MOPSI, as well as MOHATS, Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, so that we can get the support of the government to be able to reach all the schools to encourage Gambians, so that Gambians take Scrabble as an educational pastime, because we want the schools to take up Scrabble. Scrabble has greatly improved English language in Pakistan, in Thailand, Bangkok, Thailand, Malaysia. So all those highly developing countries in Asia, Scrabble has greatly contributed to their use of English, their knowledge of English.
The way forward is introducing it to the schools, trying to get the kids playing it. That way it will help the kids and then it will help the game. Because Scrabble is a game that will keep your mind juggling. At least your mind will be alert. So for school-going kids, if you're playing Scrabble, you have to think, you have to know the words, you have to calculate. So all those things, I think, will help them.
The organizers say Scrabble has been confronted with numerous challenges that range from poor reading culture to the lack of sponsorship.
One of the biggest challenges that we had when we were preparing the team to Ghana, we were supposed to field a team of 10 Gambian players. Due to lack of resources and funding, we were not able to fund a full contingent. Only 5 Gambians participated. We also want to look for sponsorship. We want the corporate entities, the GSM providers, to support the Gambia Scrabble Federation. We'll be reaching out to corporate entities so that they can see Scrabble as an area that they can invest properly for their corporate social responsibilities.
Aside from the chance of being selected to represent the country in international Scrabble competitions, these players stand a chance of being decorated with these trophies as the first, second, and third winners. Scrabble is a word game in which 2 to 4 players score points by placing tiles, each bearing a single letter, into a game board divided into a 15 by 15 grid of squares. The tiles must form words that, in crossword fashion, read left or right in rows or downwards in columns, and are included in a standard dictionary or lexicon. Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
That does it for this bulletin, but here is a recap of the top stories. His Excellency President Barrow attends the 61st session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in the Ghanaian capital, Accra. Breaking the myth and misinformation around menstruation, activists intensify the campaign to raise awareness in ending stigma and period poverty. The Food and Agriculture Organization and the Forestry Department convene a contact and collaboration fair for stakeholders in the beekeeping associations in Central River Region. In sports, Scrabble plays contest in the National Scrabble Championship organized by the Gambia Scrabble Federation to promote the game. Away from home, there have been celebrations in the Burundian capital city of Bujumbura to mark the country's 60 years of independence. Plus, thousands held protest in Morocco over the deaths of 23 migrants in Melilla last week. The protesters calling for an independent cross-border investigation onto the tragedy. And that's all we have for you this hour. Until then, thanks for the pleasure of your company and stay tuned. Of Melilla.
8 minus 5, 2, 2 minus 7, 1, 8, 6, 2, 2, 5, 7, 7, 5 minus 2. That's it? That's 6 minus 1, 4 minus 9, 8, 1 minus 8 minus 1, 5, 2.